Last time on Oz Hour.
Okay, last time on Oz Hour, they are continuing their journey and they find the yellow brick road where Woozy's like, oh yeah, I remember her because I did like my honeybee chasing around these parts. So let's go this way or that way because I know which way to go. And so they go and then they get fucking eaten up by little plants. Well, they're not little, actually, they're huge, and they literally eat them whole. And they're all scared, thinking that this is gonna be the rest of their lives until little Shaggy Man is whistling on through, gets Ojo out, and they save everyone else. And then what do they do next? Oh my God, what do they do next? They keep going. Oh, the phonogram. The phonogram comes and he's like fucking disheveled. He got beaten up. He got vegetables thrown at him. Lots of things. I can't really remember everything, but he's just stressed and he just wants to have friends. And Shaggy's like, yeah, let's give him a chance. But then spits in his face and says he'll cut him into tiny little pieces. So he's out of there. And we're on to the next. Next. What do we do next? Porcupine. The Porcupine is here and he impales everyone, and they barely get out alive, but they do, and that's it.
Hi there, and welcome to episode 38 of Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be continuing with Book 7, The Patchwork Girl of Oz, covering chapters 13 and 14.
We're your hosts, Blake Stone
And Wyatt Swang.
and joining us is our resident Oz initiate, Hannah Aguirre.
Hello,
It's her.
it's me.
No, you actually do need to stop.
yeah, the copyright police are going to come for us because that was so spot on. They're going to
you
Because-
sounded
the
just
audio.
like
It's because I'm Adele Dazim.
I was like just transported to Vegas somehow. So, Hannah, you just played last time on where you recapped what happened last time in the Patchwork Girl of Oz. That took about 1 minute and 14 seconds. So, well done on the time. It is still over, but well done. And the only note I have for you, it's just another name thing. He's the phonograph. He comes and sings a little minstrel ditty for them.
Graph.
A phonogram is when like a letter or like the letter or two letters together make a sound in a word. So
Yeah.
like,
You're gonna tell me this, and you're telling me it now. It's not gonna help what I say, but I will try to memorize
okay,
phonograph.
like how like CH makes the ch sound. That's a phonograph. That's a phonogram.
Phonogram.
Phonogram. Now I'm doing it. I was like, that's a phonograph.
Classic, like CH.
Phonograph.
It's really not that bad. You did really good.
Yeah, I feel like I got an A+.
It's just funny because PH is a phonogram then, and I was going to say, oh, it helps, but now it's in both words. So, phonograph is a phonogram.
It is.
So you guys are telling me
actually,
it's very difficult.
It's in phonograph twice.
Yeah.
What you guys are telling me is that this is
Yeah.
difficult.
So before we started recording, Wyatt went ahead and whipped up some cocktails. Tell them what we got here.
So tonight we are drinking 6 Clovers, the recipe for which you can find on our Instagram at Oz Hour Podcast. We made a simple syrup with 6 cloves, hence the name, and topped it off with some bubbly, etc. But it's, I think, going to be pretty good. Shall we?
Let us slurp.
Oh.
Oh.
The would have been a little better.
Chapter 13, Scraps and the Scarecrow.
Wow. Are they going to fuck?
I don't.
That's an interesting
know.
question.
I'm sorry.
children.
To
I don't know.
just jump in there.
From
Yeah,
18
of
or
course
19
they're
cents.
not.
I don't know like
No.
how they could.
They
if
don't.
They
I don't
wanted
think
to.
they have
Yeah.
genital. Granted, you
And
don't.
they're probably not into that, you know?
But that's okay. Let's not get into it.
Yeah,
Let's not go down that
the show
road.
is sex positive. Whatever it is for them is. What
Yeah,
it is
if they
for
call
them.
it sex, that's good.
Yep.
But maybe we don't need to talk.
Chapter 13 begins like so many other chapters because they walk down the path, and they see up ahead that there's a large wall blocking their path. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, I
And
feel like we've
they're-
seen this before.
Yeah, and they're fully out of the desert at this point, like, because that's kind of where Chiss was with that rocky area. So they've been like in like a nice moment for a little bit. Like they've gotten back into like green, like lush farms, but like not houses around really. But so they're like, okay, we're in civilized country, and now here's a big wall, and it extends to the left and right as far as they can see.
So when they catch up to it, they find that right where it overlaps with the yellow brick road, it's a huge, thick iron gate built into the wall.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this wall is tall, like it's smooth. There's no way they could climb it. So they're like, well, here's the gate, and it has this big rusty padlock on it.
Who are they trying to keep out?
I know, yeah.
Or who are
And
they
it
trying
loo-
to keep in?
But
And-
that's the thing, it
what
looks
happened
like
to the Emerald City?
when I was reading this, I was thinking, who are they trying to keep in? Honestly,
Yeah.
because the padlock is so rusty that they look at it and they're like, no one's passed through here in ages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no
It's
going in
been-
and out.
They're like, yikes.
And it's
no one's
on
been
the
here.
yellow brick road.
Yeah. Well, that exactly. Yeah.
weird.
It's on, but okay. So they get to the gate and they're like, no one's come this way. Like, we're kind of fucked. And the Shaggy Man is like, well, looks can be deceiving. And apparently
He laughs in their faces.
he does and tells them that this gate is the most deceiving thing in all of Oz. I don't know what that could mean. Like,
Who-
what's he
yeah.
comparing
Like,
that
what are you
to?
saying? Just talk, man.
Yeah.
But Scraps is
Yeah,
like,
why deceiving?
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious that something's up.
Scraps is like, I don't care if it's deceiving. I don't care if it's schmeeving. I don't give a fuck. It is blocking our way.
Yeah, and there's no one here. She's
there's
like, there's
nobody
not,
here.
There's
We don't
not
have a
gate
key.
guard. Yeah, there's nothing to do.
It was
So-
like the Great Wall of China. They can't get past it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's dangerous.
Just
They
like the
just
Great Wall of
dealt
China.
with a porcupine.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and
Scraps has holes.
it's like tall. It's smooth.
Stay on the
like
path.
they're gonna like they have to figure something out.
Yeah.
So like, but they're like, this is not gonna be easy, basically, to start. And they're kind of getting distraught because they're like, we're on the yellow brick road.
Yeah. Ojo
Yeah.
just kind of like takes a closer look at the gate, and he's just like, Shaggy Man, what do we do? Like, we're following you. Where are we going?
Yeah.
And the Shaggy Man's like, oh, hoo, 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 hooty, hooty, hoo.
Yeah.
I got you. So he tells everyone he knows how to get past the gate. Everyone's like, what the heck?
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I don't know why everyone thought that this was going to be an actual problem because the Shaggy Man told them, hey, I know this road really well. I travel it all the time. He knows about the plants that try to kill them. He knows about
the
the
conveyor
conveyor
belt,
belt.
yeah.
He knows about Chiss. Like, he knows everything. So, like, why would they think that they were going to come to a gate that was impenetrable?
Right.
So he does something interesting. He lines everyone up, basically. Ojo first.
Right face.
Exactly. Yep. Don't let your JROTC out here, Colonel.
This is not the place for that, General Ginger.
About face.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
God.
So he goes military on them, and it's Ojo first, and then he like has Scraps behind Ojo, and he like has her grab his shoulders. He has the Woozy behind Scraps and has him like bite part of her dress to hold on to, and then Bungle holds onto the Woozy's tail. So they're all in a little train, basically. I know.
Kanga.
Yeah. So they're all doing their thing. They're just lined up, and he's like, "Okay, now everybody, shut your eyes."
What?
But
Scraps is like, dude.
No.
Well, Scraps doesn't have eyes. She has buttons.
God damn it.
She can't close them.
That's right.
So the Shaggy Man takes his handkerchief and he ties it around her face.
What?
And like he's like, okay, everybody else, close your eyes.
So they're all
Why did they have
blinded.
to throw that?
So-
Just have her fucking close the button.
I know.
Right?
Close the button.
The Scarecrow has winked before.
Yeah, he
Oh,
winks all the time
yeah.
and he talks with his mouth.
Yeah.
That's true.
But the Shaggy Man, everyone's eyes are closed. Scraps is wearing a blindfold. The Shaggy Man goes and takes Ojo's hand because Ojo's at the front of the line, and he closes his eyes too. And he's like, "Okay, everybody, just follow me. Do not open your eyes until I tell you to.
Oh my God.
And they go until the Shaggy Man has counted that he's walked 100 steps.
Yeah, 100 steps. And the whole time, everyone's expecting to run into something, like the chain, or not the chains, the gate, or like the wall, or the person in front of them. But nobody feels anything. And so after they've walked 100 steps, they're like, "Where the fuck are we right now? Like, how is this possible? Like, did Shaggy Man like
and they don't feel like they're
slowly turn
turning
us?
or
Yeah,
something?
like they apparently don't.
The Shaggy Man tells everyone to open their eyes. They open. They look behind them. They see the wall and the gate are like a ways back.
Yeah,
like
100 steps.
Walked through somehow.
Shaggy magic?
Well,
Shaggy magic.
Shaggy
It's a Shaggy magic.
Shaggy
Shaggy
magic.
magic.
So we don't actually learn this in the episode today, but I would like to say what my theory is.
Yeah, let's
and
hear
that
it.
it's one of the safeguards to keep Oh, actually, never mind. I was gonna say it's one of the safeguards to keep strangers out of Oz, but they're going from Munchkinland to Emerald City, so
because that's like. But if they had that at the desert, that would make sense.
yes, that would-
And it's also the Deadly Desert. But yeah, so he's like, oh, like, so they look back, they see the wall, they look forward, and then they're like, wow, this is like, everything's green now. Like, it's like green rolling fields, beautiful little farmhouses, like, everything is here. And Shaggy Man explains that the wall is an optical illusion, or at least the gate. The wall or the gate, I'm not sure which. Both, okay, yeah. So it only exists when your eyes are open, and if you close them, it's gone. Which is not what an optical illusion is.
That's not what optical
really,
illusion means.
But it kind of is.
I kind of like what he says after, where he's like, it's the same with many evils in life.
Yeah.
They seem very real, but that's all they are, is they seem, but they're not true. And I'm like, so if I close my eyes on my problems, I'll be fine? Because trust me,
start
Shaggy,
doing that.
I'm doing that already.
I will say, though, like, my note was like, he says something weird about how the many evils of the world are also illusions. And I'm like, murder is not an illusion.
Yeah.
That's
That's
an
very
evil.
But no
real.
one dies,
But-
so
What are you trying to
there
get
must
away
be an
with? What are you trying to get
illusion.
away
True.
with here, El Frank?
Yeah. So he then explains that there are 2 yellow brick roads. And this is actually pretty important because this answers a lot of questions. I think
In
we
the
had.
Munchkin country.
In the Munchkin
specifically.
country, yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 in the Munchkin country that lead, 2 coming from the Munchkin country to Oz. So the one that Dorothy was on was not this road. She went away that is way more dangerous. There's Kalitas, there's canyons, there's rivers,
Thanks, Good Witch.
etc. Huh? Oh yeah, and yeah, right. Yeah, thanks, Good Witch of the North, for sending her on the right path. But that's when Dorothy was on, so they're not on the same path. This one is way safer, even though it has fucking Chiss and the fucking plants.
I was like, really?
So maybe that's not safer, but it was easier to
It
cross.
was
though.
much better.
Yeah,
but-
it was easier.
I mean, back when Dorothy did it, it would have been just as scary, I guess.
Yeah.
Because there wouldn't have been any Shaggy Man passing through.
I guess the Tin Woodman would have chopped
or
Chiss's
the
head.
or not
Okay,
polychrome.
here's a
but-
question. I'm so sorry to interrupt what you're saying, but I was just like, oh, the Tin Woodman would have chopped off Chiss's head and killed
She
him.
never would have found him.
But the Tin Woodman, that's true, but the Tin Woodman killed 40 wolves in the first book.
Oh yeah,
And all
40
those
wolves,
bees,
40
and
bees.
he wrung the crows' necks.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
So
I
are
don't
they
think
dead?
Child murderers.
Oh, they
Child-
all killed murderers, or they killed children. Okay, got it.
Oh,
they all deserve.
They were
it.
trying to
they
kill
were
Dorothy.
trying to.
Yeah, they
Uh-huh.
were. They were trying.
Whoa.
To. Okay.
Our
Yeah.
fake theory just
We're
became
Mythbusters.
gospel.
We're
Made it make
Mythbusters.
I feel like, wait, guys, the more we talk, the books continue to write themselves.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after learning that they're just like a day's journey away from the Emerald City and there's no more dangers awaiting them, everyone's traveling in much higher spirits. After a while, they come to a farmhouse where the family that lives there invites them in for dinner. And the people in the house are super interested in scraps, but also living in the land of Oz, they're like, I've seen
Yeah.
crazier.
Especially
You're
by
not
the
that
Emerald
weird.
City. Everybody crazy goes to the Emerald City. They've probably seen
yeah.
every fucking person.
I am so refreshed by that because I was
Yeah.
like, they're the queerest people I ever
Yeah.
saw. And it's like, oh, yeah, like, you're weird, but like, we've
Yeah.
already seen stuffed people.
They didn't crack up laughing at her. They were just like, oh, you're interesting and different.
Yeah.
But they're really nice. They give him dinner, and there's like the old woman there who's like, has her yarn and stuff, or her like thread, and she like sews Scrap's holes all up. So Scrap doesn't have those holes from Chiss anymore. And
Yeah.
she's like, like, I can make you a little hat so that like you'll be shaded from the sun and your colors won't fade. Like I have patches. So she's like going all out being nice. And Scraps is like, that's great. Like, thank you, but like, I'm good. We're kind of busy.
That's gonna take you 2 days.
Yeah. And she's like, also like, you know, like that's very kind of you though. And the lady's like, you're just very beautiful even after your long journey. So like, you're good.
Oh,
So
she's
they're-
like the only person that's ever said that.
I know. Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
All of a sudden,
people usually laugh at it.
Yeah, usually they're like,
But-
"Oh, you're disgusting,
She's-
ugly, so many colors." Pew, pew,
yeah.
pew, pew.
Although the Shaggy Man laughed at her and said, "You're a wonder. Everyone's going to love you." The only people who have said she's ugly are people in the Munchkin country, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's why Margalot made her like that, because she knew that Munchkins would think she was ugly and she'd be insecure. So Margalot is a fucking witch, and Scraps is where she needs to be.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Free.
Yeah.
Similar to how that lady wanted Scraps to just like hang out and wait for a hat, the children who live in this house want to keep Bungle.
Yeah.
They love her. They think she's amazing.
Really,
and
I would fucking hate that.
like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's like I can't cuddle you.
Yeah, it's like,
But,
what am I supposed to? How?
Bungle is like
a cat that never dies.
Bungle like actually kind of thinks about it because she's like, well, the Crooked Magician fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back there. This is way better.
Way better place to
But
live.
she tells the Shaggy Man, she's like, these kids are way too rough. If I moved
gonna
in
break.
here, I would be shattered
Yeah,
in
she's
seconds.
worried about it. So they wrap up their time with that family, and they just go on their way. It's the same day. They didn't stay the night or anything. And they start their walk, and like Ojo's like looking around in the grass. Like now that they're there, he's kind of just like off the path, like walking, like meandering a little bit, and just like not taking his time, but looking around.
Yeah. Scraps is like, what are you up to? And he's like, I'm hunting for a 6-leaved clover. It's our next thing. Yeah. Shaggy Man is like, do not do that. I already told you that's illegal.
Yeah.
I told you that's illegal.
He's like, you need Ozma's permission.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to go ask Ozma first, like, and that's it. And Ojo is like, well, she wouldn't know. And Shaggy Man's like, well, she actually has a magic picture, because guess
Yeah.
what, Ojo? You don't know everything about Oz. You actually have only ever talked to an old man who speaks 10 words per year.
And Ozma knows everything.
Yeah,
just
and
like
Ozma knows
Glinda.
everything.
Glinda's got it in her book, and Ozma's got it in her picture.
Yeah,
Okay,
and you're being watched always.
And Glinda is
it's Big
calling
Brother
Ozma.
for real. But like even like Ojo's like it. Okay, does Ozma always watch her magic picture? And the Shaggy Man's like, she doesn't always watch her magic picture. She's a fucking ruler.
Yeah,
of a
but you know what
kingdom.
she
She's
can
got
do?
things
She's
to
like,
do.
rewind to
Yeah.
when someone stole from me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Bitch.
Exactly.
That's
He's
what-
like, she could be watching.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
maybe
enough
there's
for
a
you?
file somewhere that she has organized to like stealing from me.
She like opens her MacBook Pro before she goes to
breaking and
bed.
entering.
She like double clicks on the folder of like archive footage.
Yeah.
But the Shaggy Man is like, like you're a stranger entering like the lands of the Emerald City. Like she could be zoomed in on us right now.
True.
And
Something comes over Ojo.
yeah, Ojo has like a fit. Not like in a way that like means seizure.
Well,
if
like
you're like
just
in
ask
Europe,
Ozma.
but-
Damn.
Why,
Seriously.
what does Ojo say?
Well, Ojo says, I don't care. Ozma is only a girl. That's
Yeah.
exactly what the Shaggy Man says. He is
The Shaggy Man's
stunned.
jaws on the floor.
She's
Yeah.
the
God.
girl.
She's
She's the girl.
girl.
Yeah.
She's the girl. Hey, you're in.
ITGIRL. You know I am that girl.
Ozma is that girl, and she is it. And the Shaggy Man tells him that. He's like, okay, if you want to fail at your task, you can go ahead and like,
Make enemies with Ozma.
Yeah, make Ozma your enemy. But like my
You're
advice,
not gonna get that clover.
Yeah, and he's like, my advice is like, like obey her and like do what she like wants you to do,
And she'll
because you'll be better off.
probably help you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she has, I assume she has magic. So
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. The Shaggy Man like already told Ojo that. He's like, okay, like you're not really like the Crooked Magician's not really supposed to be using magic. You're not really supposed to be picking clovers. But if you explain to Ozma what's going on, maybe like this can be okay.
Yeah.
And now Ojo's tromping in the grass looking at fucking clovers.
Yeah.
Get your
Like,
fucking
just
trumps out of there.
Wait. So the Shaggy Man just says, everyone loves Ozma and everyone hates Ozma's enemies. So what side of history do you want to be on?
And he also says, as for being a girl, like, that's an even better reason to listen to what she says. Like, don't fucking say that. Like, it doesn't matter that she's a girl.
Yes,
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry.
thank you,
This is
Shaggy
the
Man.
Wizard of
Shaggy.
fucking Oz series. I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
sure girls run the world.
Girls are
Yeah.
actually, they are in control of every
They're
part
running
of the
revolutions.
nation.
They're running the nations.
The war is about them, everything.
Even the powerful evil ones are women mostly.
Except
for the
Literally.
gnome.
Yeah.
Like, Ojo, you backwater fucking hick.
I
All
know.
the men have been are Shaggy and Humbug.
Yeah. Although,
And arrogant.
yeah.
And trans. So Ojo gets back on the road. He leaves the clovers alone. But he is pouting.
He's
Very
what?
s-
He's pouting.
Yeah. That was hard to understand.
He's a boy.
I thought you called him poutine.
But he is poutine.
He is cheese. He is
Yeah,
potato.
Gravy, cheese curd.
Yeah. But he is really sour and sulky.
He just doesn't see what the big deal is in picking a clover and
Yeah.
thinks that Ozma's law is unfair. And like, okay, like I get it. Like,
Okay, yeah. But he doesn't understand. For all he knows, the Emerald City might rely on at least 10 clovers in the fields, or else it'll be destroyed because it's magic.
Yeah.
He has no fucking idea.
Let him give you
Or
some context.
What if that's an endangered species? What if there's only
Exactly.
he doesn't know? He doesn't know.
he doesn't know.
It's
he
just
doesn't
really
know,
frustrating.
But he is pouting because he really wants the only person he's known for his entire life back in his
Yeah.
life.
He has good
Um,
reasons,
Yeah.
but come on.
So they walk along until they come to a grove of trees that the road winds through. But as they walk, they can hear someone singing a song up ahead.
So they can't see who it is, but they do hear someone singing. And what they're singing is Here's to the hail, old bale of straw, that's cut from the waving grain, the sweetest sight man ever saw in forest dell or plain. It fills me with a crunkling joy, a straw stack to behold, for then I pad this lucky boy with strands of yellow gold.
Hearing this song, the Shaggy Man is like, oh, it's the Scarecrow! Because I guess he's singing his famous Scarecrow song?
I mean, maybe he recognizes his voice.
I've known the Scarecrow for 5 years
When has he
now.
sang? Ever? When has he ever sang?
Never heard
He actually, I think he
him.
doesn't really like singing that much, actually. I think he usually tells people to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. But the Scarecrow does appear, and Shaggy Man is correct. And he is riding the sawhorse, of course. And we get a fresh description of the Scarecrow.
Which we don't need.
Exactly. It's the exact same as it's always been. And it just calls out that the one thing that I think is new is it calls out that his face is charming, but he has slightly different sized eyes. His ears don't really match, but like that's it. And then we get a description of the sawhorse.
That information was new. Everything
Yeah.
about the sawhorse is the same.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting in the description of the Scarecrow, L. Frank Baum points out that the
Emphasizes.
Scarecrow's brains are made out of sawdust, pins, and needles.
Okay.
We just always talk about how great his brains are.
And they're made out of garbage.
Are you kidding? Okay. So we get really I got worked up. I got worked up and I actually said I wasn't going to do that anymore. But we get very thorough descriptions of the Scarecrow and the Sawhorse, and they are just as you would guess. But the Scarecrow sees his friend the Shaggy Man, and he approaches him with a smile and a nod. Then what happens?
Well, then he stops and turns and stares at Scraps in amazement.
I think I'm moving
And Scraps is staring right back at him. And their eyes lock.
They can't look away.
No.
Well, but the Scarecrow does look away. And he whispers to the Shaggy Man. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just know how I said earlier I thought they would fuck, but like I still ship Tin Man and Scarecrow, so I don't want any funny business happening between them.
Well, just hear what's about to happen.
Okay. Continue.
So
Tin Woodman and Scarecrow could still have a future regardless of what happens now. It's a long
That's true.
series.
I guess that's true.
That's
yeah.
true. Things ebb and flow, just like life and time.
Yeah.
What does the Scarecrow ask of Shaggy?
So the Scarecrow looks back at the Shaggy Man and he whispers to him, Shags, pat me into shape. And the Shaggy Man starts patting him and punching him down to get all of his straw smooth underneath because he was kind of lumpy and weird looking.
While this is happening,
Yeah.
Scraps turns to Ojo and she's like, can you roll me out? I'm all saggy, men like a stately looking woman.
Yeah, because she's kind of drooped while she's been walking.
So
What?
she lays on the ground and Ojo just rolls her like a rolling
Just in front of
pin on the
everyone.
ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the Scarecrow
Scarecrow's
is turned away
distracted.
getting patted to hell.
Yeah,
so
but it's still just they showed up
So-
and now everyone's getting patted and
So
rolled.
then-
Yeah. And also, I will say my note here is these two want to fuck.
So they finish their patting and they're rolling, and they just stand there staring at each other again. And the Shaggy Man introduces Scraps and the Scarecrow to each other, and they bow.
And the Scarecrow apologizes for staring, but he says that Scraps is the most beautiful thing he has ever seen.
Oh my god, I'm getting giddy.
Yeah.
It's so weird because the Scarecrow is the most sexless thing I've ever seen in my life. So all of a sudden him having a crush is insane to me.
But then
he doesn't he watches spiders.
Yeah, he watches spiders all night.
When he thinks his brains curdle in his brow. Remember that?
No, you're making that up.
Scarecrow body horror.
After the Scarecrow says that she's beautiful, Scraps looks down and averts her eyes, and she says that's a high compliment from someone who is also so beautiful. And so they're just flirting.
And Scraps
my
is
God.
feeling shy.
Yeah, me too.
She's
never
looking at
acted
the
this
ground,
way.
but her eyes are buttoned, so she can't just look at the ground. So she's dangling her head.
Yeah,
down.
she's hanging her head.
But Scraps is you're beautiful, but you're a little lumpy. And the Scarecrow is oh yeah, that's my straw. Sometimes it needs to get patted into place. Does your straw ever get lumpy?
And she's like, oh my god, my cotton sags. So they're just bonding over being these strange things.
God damn it.
I know. Scarecrow.
It's cute. It's cute.
It's cute. I wasn't expecting it, and I don't know how I like it, but I do ship.
Yeah,
It
I
is
ship
cute.
it too. I ship both.
Okay.
The Scarecrow is oh, cotton is very high grade stuffing. That's very classy.
Rich.
And you know what? You deserve the best. So I'm glad you're stuffed with cotton. That's awesome for you. You're really beautiful and stuffed with cotton and stuff.
And he asks Shaggy to introduce them for a second time.
Yeah, he's I
Oh
loved
my
loved
God.
meeting you so much, Shaggy Man. Will
Let's
you
do it
introduce us
again.
again?
And Shaggy was like, no, once is enough.
Yeah.
But he's laughing. He's laughing.
Shaggy
though.
wants to get the fuck
He's-
out of there.
I know, yeah. He has his fucking hole. Oh no, he got it healed. His leg. From
He's
that
I don't
fucking
need to
wound,
see
but-
this weird cotton straw
No, this
business.
is dirty. So the Scarecrow sees the glass cat, and he is really impressed by it. But he asks Bungle, he's like, "What are you made of gelatin?" And Bungle's like, "I am made of pure glass."
And don't
That
ever
is-
insult me
yeah.
like that.
Gelatin?
Again.
No, because actually, I am way more beautiful than your little Scraps.
It's oh, so you're made out of what horse eat?
yeah,
right?
What horse are? But yeah, she's like, I'm transparent. I have pink brains. You can see them work. I have a ruby heart. Scraps doesn't even have a heart.
And the Scarecrow's like, I don't have a heart either. And he
shakes
goes and
hands.
shakes fucking Scraps' hand to congratulate her on also not having a heart. And
So how are you guys feeling? Whatever's happening here, 'cause
well,
something's happening.
I know. Although the Tin Woodman thinks
Just their
that
That's
he
great
doesn't have a
brains.
brain.
true. Yeah, he's still smart without
It
his
is also in
brains.
the brains.
And
Yeah.
he was still romantic without his heart.
I know.
Sorry, I love the Tin Woodman.
I know.
The Scarecrow then sees Ojo and shakes his hand.
And he's like, oh, Munchkin boy.
Yeah, Munchkin boy, put her there. While this is happening, the Woozy goes over and begins sniffing the back of the sawhorse, the way animals greet each other.
Yeah.
And the sawhorse hates this.
Yeah.
He thinks it's a little
Obviously.
too familiar.
Well, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a butt.
And he's not really. He's
not an animal
He doesn't have an
either.
animal brain. He has like a
Yeah.
sentient human brain.
He's a human treated like an animal.
So and this I get what happens next, because if this happened to me, I might do something similar.
Yeah, but the sawhorse always does this shit.
It's true. He looks at the woozy and he screams, "Get away from me, you monster!" and kicks him in the head as
Kicks
his
him
he can
so hard.
Oh.
with
The
his
woozy-
golden foot.
The woozy can take it. He's a big
No
fucking
reaction.
thing.
His skin is
Yeah.
3 inches thick.
Completely unfazed. But the woozy says to the sawhorse that he better be careful not to piss him off because his eyes flash fire and the sawhorse is completely
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah.
So.
But the
The
sawhorse
scarecrow
kicks him again.
and the fucking
Yeah,
sawhorse.
seriously.
He
How come
kicks him
every time-
again?
Yeah,
When-
immediately.
When the sawhorse met the cowardly lion and the hungry tiger, he insulted them and they threatened to fucking end his shit too. Oh wait, no, it was Jim actually.
It
That
was
was Jim.
Jim.
Oh, I do
Never
remember
mind.
that.
Cut that. I won't be wrong on this podcast.
But that's he fucking kicks him again.
He
Yeah.
kicks him square in the face.
and he's still fine, but he
Um,
hates it.
So
Just testing him.
the woozy goes and tells the scarecrow actually that the sawhorse is a fucking creep, and that he should chop him up into kindling and ride the woozy around instead.
Well, Scarecrow has news for him. Like,
He tells the woozy that he hasn't been introduced to the sawhorse properly, because the sawhorse is well loved by Ozma. He lives in a fancy jewel-encrusted stable. He's a favorite throughout Oz. So as long as the scarecrow can just like go and tell the sawhorse the woozy's name, rank, station, and history, then they're gonna be fine friends.
the woozy isn't comfortable with that because he doesn't know what those words mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be like insulting this random person who I just smelled their ass, like,
Yeah.
because I don't know who the fuck that is.
Ojo even tells the scarecrow
Ojo's
he's
fucking-
like, okay, he's called the woozy. He's not really important other than these 3 hairs on his tail. Like
That's
which-
verbatim what he says.
woof.
Yeah. And
Aw.
the scarecrow is like, those hairs don't look important at all. The Shaggy Man has many hairs and no one thinks that he's important.
Teehee.
Yeah, which
But-
is like a joke.
Ojo fills him in on the book this far.
Yeah, so Ojo does what he loves to do, which is tell everybody how he got here and what they're doing. and included in that is why they have the woozy. But as part of this, he mentions that obviously the crooked magician is doing magic and doing all that stuff, and that's why they're here, because his magic created all of this. And the scarecrow gets kind of stern during this conversation. His brow darkens, and he's like, yeah, we need to tell Ozma about this because the crooked magician is breaking the law.
Yeah, he's practicing magic without a license.
And look what's happened. He's hurt 2 people already.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, Ozma might not even allow him to do the magic to bring your uncle back because this is a big deal. What's
Yeah.
happening here? And if he gets his magic taken away by Ozma, sorry.
Oh no.
Ojo does his second favorite thing, and he has a sob
Yeah,
fit.
breaks down crying.
Like, understandably, but full on tantrum. He is screaming, I want my Unc Nunky! Like, he's like, Ozma or no Ozma,
Yeah.
I am going to get him back. She cannot keep my uncle a statue.
He
Fuck
keeps
her.
going anti-Ozma.
I mean,
And honestly,
that
the
makes a
way-
little bit more
The
sense.
way that
though.
Yeah.
people
Yes,
are
agreed.
talking about Ozma in this book, I'm like, kind of like, fuck Ozma a
it's
little
giving
bit.
sinister vibes.
It is giving sinister vibes for me, and there's something later on that I'll point out when we get there, but that I'm also just like, is Ozma like a fucking monster?
She changed after the doors closed.
Yeah, when she was like, this is all mine and no one else is coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want tip back.
Let's go. So Ojo's crying, but and he basically says, like, she's just this girl ruler, like, why does she, like, how is it her right to keep Unc Nunky a statue forever? And the scarecrow's just like, hey, like, don't worry about that right now. Like, go find Dorothy. Find Dorothy, tell her what's happening, and like she and Ozma are best friends, like, and Dorothy's been through a lot. Like, she might help you.
Yeah.
So the Scarecrow's like, yep, good luck on your journey to the Emerald City. So the Scarecrow turns to the Woozy and he says, I'm afraid you're not important enough to be introduced to the Sawhorse after all. And then he just kind of goes back to checking out Scraps and just like gassing her up again. And
he just compliments her beauty.
Yeah, she's so beautiful. Her laugh is so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And Scraps is like, no wonder they call you the wise Scarecrow.
Yeah, she's like, you know what you're talking about.
Scraps like grew up all of a sudden.
Yeah, what the hell? All of a sudden you're not 3 days old.
I think I need to breed. I don't know what's happening. Patchwork people age faster. So the Scarecrow tells them that he will see them again when he gets back to the Emerald City, but right now he's on his way to go visit his friend because his ear, the paint is chipping off of his ear, and that's affecting his hearing. So when these things happen, he has one friend that he always goes to.
And I'm not even going to ask you to guess who it is. I'm just going to tell you.
You'll never.
It's Ginger.
Oh.
General Ginger, now that housemaid who like has a husband and a cow.
Yeah.
That's who he goes to. And I'm like,
dude,
what?
I was just
Ginger?
thinking about her too.
Ginger being like the general of the revolt and like attacking King Scarecrow, and now she like has to go back to her mother and help milk the cows, but she also has to like paint and mend the Scarecrow every 2 weeks.
That is pretty wild.
It is very Sophia becoming Miss Millie's maid after all.
Yeah.
I hope she's happy.
Well, she must be. She helps the Scarecrow.
She does it with a smile. They're friends, he says.
But that unbelievably is the end of the chapter. However, we're not done yet. We are going to engage in what I would characterize as a guest game called The Wonderful Matchmaker of Oz. Today on The Wonderful Matchmaker of Oz, we have contestant Hannah Aguirre, who is going to be making matches for a few of our favorite characters in the Patchwork Girl of Oz. We just saw Scraps and the Scarecrow fall in love. Maybe. It was maybe unclear. But what we're going to go through now is a couple categories where we're going to ask you to take people in our current gang and match them up with your favorite of 3 choices. So I'll give you a category, tell you who in the gang we're talking about, and then we're going to go through 3 options for you to choose as their match. What I will say is that these are romantic partnerships for life and or forever. So think about that in your options. And we'll discuss. Okay. But not too much, because then it'll go way too long.
We don't want that.
Hannah, do you agree to the rules as presented?
I agree.
Very well.
We're going to play, Steve.
We're going to play. Category 1. Category is pets. The main character we're talking about today is Bungle the cat. Who do you think she would be best partnered with? Our options are, number 1, he is loyal, he is kind, and isn't much of a talker. Toto the dog.
Number 2, sometimes she wants to eat a piglet, but she always knows what she wants. Eureka the pink kitten.
And your third choice, she's responsible, kind, and a single mother of over 7,000 chicks. Bellina the hen. Woo!
Oh, shoot. Okay. So, I just feel like I want cat on cat.
No, I get that. I get that.
And they would be like a gay couple, so that's like honestly kind of that terminology is just still
They're
cool.
lesbians.
Oh, we kind of like that.
Yeah.
I do like that.
I think their personalities are similar too.
That too, because like with like even if we're just talking about personality and not species, Bellina and Bungle would fucking kill each other.
They would hate each other's guts.
And I don't think Bellina should be with someone like Bungle. I'm sorry.
I know. I respect Bellina too much.
Too busy for a party
she
girl
needs
like
someone
Bungle.
that's like she needs someone different.
And then
Toto. You know, Toto could work, but he also like I don't know. It just I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be put through that.
Bungle and Eureka, I hope you have a great time at the Palm Springs Beverly Hills Resort and Day Spa.
Yeah. Are they going to Trixie Motel?
Category number 2. Category is animals. Our main character being the Woozy. Now, Hannah, do you think that the Woozy's best match would be contestant number 1, Sawhorse? He's a silent type, but you can ride him all night long without him breaking a sweat.
Whether you're into hiding under a blanket or just feeling prideful, Cowardly Lion.
Or contestant number 3, wouldn't you just love to eat a baby right now? The Hungry Tiger.
So I feel like, for sure, I'm just going to take out the Sawhorse. Because I did not like their first interaction. That does not seem like a good match.
It didn't give you like a will they, won't they?
No. It gives me someone's going to die.
Yeah, that does give potential murder.
And it's going to be the Woozy. But I feel like I would rather go with the Cowardly Lion because I feel like the Woozy is also just like very sweet and nurturing, and the Hungry Tiger is just like always fucking complaining all the time about being hungry, and I don't think anyone should be put in that position.
Woozy and Hungry Tiger, please enjoy a couples cooking class led by none other than Bobby Flay.
Oh, shit.
And Guy Fieri is also on the premises, but you
Triple
might
D.
not see him.
Okay, well maybe that would have been good with the Hungry Tiger. I wish I knew.
Category 3 out of 4. Category is main characters. And for our current group, we are talking Ojo the Unlucky. Now, who do you think will be the best match for Ojo? Contestant number 1, everyone's favorite girl ruler with a mysterious past. The beautiful, the just, Ozma of Oz.
Contestant number 2. She made her way from the gray Kansas to the Emerald City. The princess herself, Dorothy Gale.
Or California cousin to Princess Dorothy. He's good with his hands and has an adventurous past. Zeb Hugson.
Those are 3 very good choices, and whoever he does get matched up with, I will be happy for. But I know that I'm doing the matches, so I will decide. But I'm just saying that I love every single person on this category, so I have to make a decision. And honestly, first with Ozma, I feel like they also, I know they haven't met yet, but they've gone off to a rocky start. Dorothy, that could be good. But for some reason, Zeb is really calling to me. I can't picture him with Dorothy, and I can't picture him with Ozma. And also, for some reason, they just seem like they might be a little older, where I'm like, that doesn't
Like
add up
15.
for me.
He's like 11.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to say Zeb and Ojo. Final
Crazy
answer.
names.
Can you feel a brand new day? Wow. This is beautiful. This is beautiful stuff. Let's keep it coming. I'm sorry.
Wait, what's the reward?
What do they win?
Oh, shit. Okay, no, that's really good. That's really good. Ojo the Unlucky and Zeb Hugson, you have won a new toaster oven from Kitchen Caboodle.
Oh.
They absolutely hate that.
Not
Yeah,
all
it's
of the
like, are they
prizes are
gonna-
big. You can't just expect
They're
a big
children.
prize on everything. We gave away 2 trips already. I mean,
Okay, I
That's
get
true.
it.
That's true.
I get
Yeah, give the toaster oven to the 2 kids.
Next one's a car.
Category 4, our final category. So this category is grown-ups. The main character from this book being Scraps Patchwork. So Hannah, do you think that Scraps will be best matched with contestant number 1, once a humbug, always a hunk? Would you like to make magic with the Wizard of Oz?
Contestant number 2. his brain isn't the only thing that's been highly magnified. H.M. Wogglebug T.E.
Or contestant number 3. Sorry, that's just it's so obvious that they're not great. Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna stop making faces.
No, I'm looking at you.
No, it's
Okay.
definitely like
Okay. It's pretty
poor Scrap.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Or will it be contestant number 3? Wind him up and watch him
No, are you fucking kidding
straight
me?
from Ev. It's TikTok the Machine Man.
So we have. I don't even remember the first guy.
It's a wizard. I'm gonna
Oh
throw
my
up.
god, the fucking humbug, the bug, and then the robot.
And Scraps will live forever. So who is she with forever?
Oh my god.
Oh, forever. Poor girl. I'm gonna say TikTok
Yeah. I would agree
like
with that.
I don't. The bug. I mean, they're both like smart and everything, I guess, but like, I don't want her to be with that guy. And and honestly, the wizard doesn't deserve love. So why is he here? He's not here for the game. He's not here for love. He's not here for forever. So we're picking TikTok because
He's not
TikTok
here
isn't.
for the game.
No, he's not.
He's here for media exposure.
Yeah, exactly. He's here for clout.
Okay, that's what I thought was happening. We're on reality. We're on reality.
Yeah,
We're on reality.
this is Love Is Blind.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, well, Blake, our final pairing here is Scraps and TikTok. What have they won?
Scraps Patchwork and TikTok the Machine Man. You have won an all expenses paid trip back home to your mother's house. Start over. Try again.
I thought it was a car.
Yeah, what car?
Oh, correct.
Actually, we don't have the budget.
You have won. Wow, we just found on Facebook Marketplace 4 Hot Wheels cars for $25. You can pick them up in Southampton.
All right, well, that wraps up our game for today, the wonderful Matchmaker of Oz. We have 4 lovely couples walking out of here with gifts of varying values.
Can we say all the couples again?
Of course.
Absolutely we can. That is, Bungle the Glass Cat was paired with Eureka the Pink Kitten.
We have the Woozy, the monster, walking out with the Cowardly Lion.
Ojo the Unlucky is hand in hand with Zeb Hudson from San Fran, California.
And Scraps Patchwork, she just wound the TikTok man back up, and they are walking out the door together for a life of eternity in the Emerald City.
That is so terribly unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not happy for her.
We
That's
hope
the
to
only
see
one.
you all again at the wonderful Matchmaker of Oz. I shaved my legs for you, Wyatt.
And that is how we end Chapter 13, the Scraps and the Scarecrow. And
Okay.
Blake, what would you call that, Matchmaker?
Love in Stitches.
Nice. Chapter 14, Ojo breaks the law.
Ojo break the law.
I wonder what he's gonna do.
I know, so many
Yeah,
laws
what
in
could it
Oz.
fucking be? Wait, should we just skip? After the Scarecrow rides away on the sawhorse, Ojo is like, wow, what a queer man. And Scraps is like, and nice and polite and handsome and so many great things. And oh my God.
Yeah, and the Shaggy Man is like, hey, the important thing about him is that he's a really great thinker. And, like, he's smart. We should follow his advice and, like, go to Ozma. And the Glass Cat is like, well, you can't even see his brains. Actually, they're not pink, and you can't see him work like mine. And Shaggy Man's like, the wizard put brains in there. So, like, that's why he's wise, I
Yeah.
guess. But he's wise,
I mean,
period.
and Shaggy Man is like honest, and he's like, when I first came to Oz, I did not think the Scarecrow was going to be very smart, because his brains were given to him by a humbug wizard. But actually, he's proven to be very wise many times. And Ojo is like, wait, the Wizard of Oz is a humbug? And they learn that like he's not a humbug anymore because Glinda taught him a lot of great magic.
Yeah.
I know
Old
that
news.
we know that, but I don't know if they know that. So they walk along in silence for a while, and Ojo finally is just like, if Ozma forbids the Crooked Magician to restore Unk Nunky to life, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. And Shaggy Man gives a very Shaggy response. And he's like, hey, like, don't fucking worry about it right now. Just go talk to Dorothy.
One
Like,
thing at a time.
yeah, Dorothy has a good heart. Like, she's been in weird situations before. Like, she's gonna sympathize with you. Like, just like talk to Dorothy. Don't
And she'll
worry
go
about
tell
it.
Ozma what.
Yeah.
needs to be- But like, why does it sound like Dorothy's like so great and understanding, and Ozma is so ruthless? Like, I feel like this whole book they're painting Ozma to be like some
She's
dictator.
a tyrant.
Well, it's interesting. Maybe they're trying to distinguish Ozma and Dorothy's personality a little more. But like, I don't know. Like, it's like people are basically just saying facts. Like, they all know Ozma's good and kind and just, and they're all suggesting, "Hey, go talk to Ozma." But at the same time, it's like there's laws.
Yeah,
It
maybe
sounds
they're
like
just
a cult.
painting a picture for Ojo who's never met her. You know,
Guess so.
it's painting
just
a
about the
picture of like,
perspective.
why am I not able to do this and why am I not able to do that?
Because
Yeah.
the 12-year-old said you can't, and you're only 11.
We listen to the 12-year-olds here. You need to understand that.
Because she's so pretty and fair.
She might not always be right, but somehow it
Yeah.
always works out.
Sometimes she says we're not going to fight in the war, and then we have to come and tell her in the last 2 chapters, no, we need to do something. And then she goes, well, okay, I guess we battle.
Maybe she got really strict after they almost were invaded and destroyed.
She was
Oh,
humiliated.
changed.
Yeah, she was
There's some character
embarrassed.
development. She has a law now. Yeah.
So the Shaggy Man tells Ojo that like he just needs to go and talk to Dorothy, and Ojo's like, "Oh, is Dorothy that girl who came from Kansas?" And the Shaggy Man's like, "Yeah, like in Kansas, she was known as Dorothy Gale. I met her there actually, and she brought me to Oz. So you know, we're like learning things that we already know.
Yeah, it's all just a recap. But for Ojo, he's
but-
never met anyone before.
Yeah, and so it's just like, yeah."
No, she does say that. But
Goodness.
after saying yeah, Scraps is like, what's so queer about Oz anyway? Because like the Shaggy Man is kind of like, oh, like it's pretty weird here. And Shaggy Man's like, Scraps, look in the mirror.
Yeah, he's like you.
Yeah, in America, we do not have girls who are made out of quilts and stuffed with cotton. But he does say she's beautiful. Like, there's no girl as beautiful as you in America. Like, you're very specific.
Yeah. Scraps is like, you said the Scarecrow is very wise, and he says I'm the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. And the Shaggy Man's like, yeah, and if you're a Scarecrow, that's probably true. But
Yeah.
like, come on, like, I like skin.
Yeah. Yeah, the Shaggy Man says he likes skin.
I'll take flesh.
But
He
It's like
actually
flesh and skin.
It says
Yeah.
that all of the beasts and critters of the forest silence themselves. The moon lights the sky. The stars split. The trees still. And the Shaggy Man says,
he needs humans of flesh and meat.
I love skin. The Shaggy Man tells them that in another hour they should be able to see the gates of the Emerald City up ahead. So they just keep on going. They ease on down the road. And Ojo starts to fall behind the rest of the group as they're walking.
Yeah. They don't really notice. But he has his eyes peeled for a 6-leaf clover.
Yeah.
Because he's just looking. He's just curious.
He just wants to see one. He wants to know that there's at least one.
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
Yeah,
his
that's
life.
what he's
his
telling
family
everyone.
depends on it.
So he's
Well,
telling himself.
Because they don't see him. Like, they're like
They're
ahead of him. They're
and
just
they're
chilling.
not paying attention.
But Ojo sees something.
Something promising. He bends down.
Yeah.
He counts the leaves. He counts the leaves again.
And he counts 6 both times. It's a 6-leaf clover. And they're at a place where there's like houses around now, but they're not really close to any house. He's like, no one's fucking looking at me. Like, I'm just going to do this.
His friends are up ahead talking and walking.
Yeah.
If
He's
he
like,
just acts quickly.
yeah, he figures there's no trouble because even like if he gets the permission from Ozma, maybe he can't find that clover again. Maybe he never finds
That's the
one.
thing. Yeah, he's like,
so I get it.
So I get back to the palace. Ozma says, yeah, go find one. And then I have to find one again. That could take weeks. I have one right here.
So he just snatches this one up, puts it under his basket, covers it up, and just acts very nonchalant. He's just acting like nothing happened. He catches up with his friends. And at this point, they're like getting pretty close to the Emerald City.
You're
like
out of the
itself.
woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night.
Yeah.
Like they are at the top of a hill and they can see the Emerald City up ahead. And the book describes the Emerald City, which we know all about, but he did add one detail that I really like, and that's that in the walls of the Emerald City, on all 4 sides, there's a different gate. So it's like, if you're a Munchkin, you enter through this gate. If you're a Winky, you enter through this gate. Gillikin and Quadlane. But it's like, it just shows that like all are welcome. And like, I realized as I was describing it, it sounded very like exclusive.
Well, it sounded a little segregated.
I think it's just that like the yellow brick road like goes out in each direction, and that's the gate from each of those countries.
Is that the path you have to
That's
follow?
like the way you would
It's
go
just-
home
yeah, like,
or
if
come from.
if you wanted to,
That
they
makes
could
more
walk
sense.
halfway around the city and enter through the like Winky
So
gate.
which gate has the love magnet?
Good question. They
That's a
came
good
from
question.
the
You'd have to-
Munchkin.
you-
Oh no, they come
You have to put the love magnet over the best hole.
probably the one where they came through when they entered.
Yeah, I would
Probably that
assume
one.
so.
Well, they may or may not go through that one because we don't get that information. But we do know that they approach one of these gold barred gates facing the Winky or facing the Munchkin country.
So Scraps is literally like, wee! And she says that she wants to live in the Emerald City and be all done with the all blue country of the Munchkins.
She's like, to hell with Dr. Pip.
yeah. Yeah. It was just like, you're Dr. Pip and Margolot's property, right? Like, you can't just live here because you want to. You have to go home. And
That's
she's
not
like,
fair.
Well,
and
yeah,
that's what
she's
she
like-
says. She's like, if Dr. Pip wants me, he can come here
True.
and get me.
True.
Yeah, I'm staying here. It's a beautiful city. I'm beautiful, and I'm going to live here.
But
Yeah.
what does the Shaggy Man say?
So the Shaggy Man breaks in with something that I understand, but is interesting. He says, hey, people in this country like live where they're told to live. Like, not everyone can come live in the Emerald City. Like,
Ozma's insane.
Excuse me?
but
Shaggy, you're not even from here.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
like he says, like if everybody lived in the Emerald City, there wouldn't be farmers, there wouldn't be fishermen, there wouldn't be woodmen, there wouldn't be cattle herders.
Okay,
But,
Scraps
like,
any of those people?
No, she's none of those
No.
things.
So- She
but
can't do
also,
anything.
I don't really like everybody lives where they're told to live in general. That I think that's pretty
Well,
yucky.
because
Yes.
then he also goes on to say, like, like there's freedom in living in the country. Like, it's nice. Like, people in the Emerald City probably wish they could live in the country.
Yeah.
And he also says that
He's being a gatekeeper.
Well, he
Well,
is,
the thing is,
'cause-
like, Scraps is like the country sounds gross. Like, I don't want that. I want the Emerald City. And yeah, he tells her of some important people who have chosen to live in the country because
Yeah.
city life is too much.
He's like Scarecrow, Tin Woodman, Jack Pumpkinhead, all of them live outside the city. And I'm like, so they choose to live outside
So,
the city.
yeah.
So why are they choosing, but Scraps can't choose?
Exactly.
Like, it's
And
very classist.
You chose to live in Oz. You're not from Oz.
Yeah, you get to. Yeah, Shaggy Man got to choose everything.
Yeah. So I don't understand why
he
you
chose
would be
to
saying
follow
that.
a little girl down a million roads and laughed about it.
All said though, none of this comes to anything, and it ends up being Shaggy Man saying, "Hey, let's hurry along. Like,
Yeah.
we're almost there."
They're out of the woods. They're out of the dark.
now
they're
I
out
know
of the
about-
night.
Now I know a little bit more about Shaggy.
Yep.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's traveling in much higher spirits because now it's like we can see the city of emeralds. We're here. The houses are getting closer together on the sides of the road. They see a lot of people coming and going from their houses, and they greet them. They're like, "Oh, hello, how do you do? We are going to see the fucking not the wizard this time, the other one, Ozma."
Oh, that's what they said. Not the fucking other one.
I think my eyes rolled in the back of my head. I wasn't on the premises. But then they finally get to the gates of the Emerald City, and as they're approaching, the gates open, and a tall soldier steps out to greet them. He is so tall that Ojo has never seen anyone this tall before. But Ojo only knows himself, Unk Nunky, a cat, a pillow, a man so crooked he can hardly
He's
stand.
only ever seen a
the
munchkin.
Shaggy Man.
Yeah, he's only ever seen Munchkins and the Shaggy Man. I
Shaggy
guess.
Man's a man.
Yeah.
That's true, but he's not tall. He might be.
He's like 5'10".
Yeah.
But this man is so tall, but we've met this man a million times, and we've never been told he's very tall.
Yeah, he has long green whiskers, so he's the guard of the gate.
Mean anything to you?
Ombi Ambi?
No, the guy with the long green whiskers. The
Oh.
soldier with the long green whiskers.
I always get confused
What's
on
his
which one's
name?
Hughes.
I can never remember.
Hughes.
I think he is the guardian of the gate, but
Yeah.
now they
Just
call
Guardian of the Gate.
now they call him in
Because
the book.
Ombi Ambi is the private.
Yeah, Ombi
Yeah.
Ambi is
Okay,
a private.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We almost put him in the match game, but he was too obvious because he's obviously hot.
Yeah, exactly. Ombi
Yeah.
Ambi.
Yeah. But he has the whiskers, and he obviously like waves at Shaggy or whatever. And Shaggy's like, "Oh hey, like anything new happened while I was gone?" And he's like, "Oh hey, Shaggy Man, like actually, Belina had 13 new chicks, and she now has about 7,000 chicks,
So why
which
are
is
we
crazy."
keeping track of that?
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
We
the
think
sol-
that,
wonder-
like, she's just having babies.
She's having babies all the time. She's so proud. The soldier's like, "Hey, Shaggy Man, pop by and tell her congratulations when you get a chance."
Oh, that's sweet.
Shaggy
though.
Man's like, "I totally will, but right now I need to take my new friends to meet Princess Dorothy." So the Shaggy Man's like, "Come on, guys," and they like start to go, but the soldier with the long green whiskers like blocks their way, and he's like, "Oh, actually, I'm on the clock. I have orders to execute. Are one of you named Ojo the Unlucky?"
And Ojo has never heard anyone say his name before. So he's like, "Oh, that's me." And the guard's like, "Sorry, but I have to arrest you."
Oh,
I
yikes.
was told. And Ojo is like, "Arrest me? What for?" And like, come on,
Don't
Ojo.
be acting
Yeah,
like you
Ojo
didn't
What
fucking
do
for?
something.
What for?
You were warned.
So the soldier's like, I actually haven't looked at the warrant, so let me see. So he pulls out the warrant
In
and
front
he
of
reads it.
everybody.
In front of everyone. And he reads and he's like, "Oh, Ojo's being arrested for willfully breaking one of the laws of Oz." Oh, one of the reasons you would get arrested is breaking the law.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I was like, of course.
what did he do? But Scraps is a homie. And
Yeah.
she's like, he didn't do anything. He's been with us for days. Ojo has not broken any of your stupid laws. Like,
Okay.
the soldier is explaining to Scraps. He's like, "I know what my orders are. I'm Ozma's bodyguard. I'm the Royal Army of Oz. I am the police force of the Emerald City." And Scraps is like, "You're just one dude.
Okay.
And he's like, "I haven't done anything for years, Scraps.
Yeah.
Nobody here does bad shit."
One dude is enough, usually.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you're marching a fugitive into my city."
Yeah. And basically Scraps is like, "Well, this can't be right. Like, you're wrong. Like, Ojo has broken no laws." But the guard's like, "Great. That's great news because then he'll be set free very soon."
Yep. He'll just go through his trial, just
Yeah.
like Eureka went through trial.
Yeah. Although
and she was released.
I hope it's a bit more stringent than what Eureka did because that was
Eureka's
insane.
trial was
Well,
crazy.
Eureka is
but-
a dumb fucking bitch.
She's a monster.
Yeah. But also
Um,
bungle.
But yeah, so the soldier pulls out a pair of gold handcuffs with rubies and diamonds encrusted
Yeah.
into the sides. He cuffs Ojo and he takes him to prison.
What?
And
What's prison in Oz?
He goes to we don't know yet, but
I
he
don't know
goes
yet.
to prison and he awaits trial.
Oh, another trial.
and that is the end of chapter 14.
Damn, a cliffhanger.
Ojo breaks the law. And Blake,
Mm.
what would you break?
And Ojo, no.
Thank you for listening to Oz Hour. Please join us next time as we continue with Chapter 15, Ozma's Prisoner. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Oz Hour Podcast for everything on Oz. Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swangham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas.